Let's go. Welcome back, everybody, to Talk Dirt to Me. My name is Sandra Graham, and episode 16 is a special one for a couple of reasons. So first off, I'd like to introduce my first co-host, Mike Saunders.
Good day.
And I have a second one here tonight, the number 12A of Jamie LaRock.
Hello, hello.
And another reason why it's so special tonight, we have our very first sponsor. So tonight's episode is sponsored by BMR Motorsports. So thank you, Brandon McMillan, very much. And now our guest is the number 38 from the Autodrome Granby track, Jonathan Caron-Lacoste.
Hi, everyone.
Did I say it right?
Well, an Anglo saying my French name, you were not that bad.
See? Okay. I struggled with that all day. I did practice it, and I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. So
Sanders not as good at French as Jamie and I are. So.
Here we go. And there has been times, actually, where I have had Mike introduce our guest because my pronunciation, I guess, is just horrible. So anyways, hi, Jonathan.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Friday night, best night of the week.
True. Very, very true. All right, we're going to jump into this with some rapid fire questions. So I am going to ask a question. I just want you to answer it with the first thing you think of. All right, you ready?
Shoot out.
All right, what is your favorite track food?
Poutine. I'm Quebec.
Do you have a driver that intimidates you the most out there?
Oh, that's going to be Mathieu Vogel, that's for sure.
Preferred track conditions, slick or tacky?
Tacky.
Win a feature or set a fast time?
Oh, win a feature.
One word to describe Granby.
Fastest track.
And if you weren't racing, what would you be doing?
Oh, I'd be watching. I'd be managing. I'd be track management, whatever. I'd be at a track one way or another.
Awesome. Cool. So how did you get into dirt track racing?
Actually, well, first and foremost, it came later because, first and foremost, I'm a car guy. So always played with cars, the Fast and Furious generation growing up, JDM, drifting, quarter mile racing. So dirt oval came way later in life. Dominique Blais, like 4-time champion in Granby. His cousin was a really close friend, and we started building cars just to go out in Eastern Quebec. They got like rally cross, but shed box racing. They call it course de bazou. So basically, you're tolling your car. It's not a derby, but you're jumping in sand pits and stuff like that. And so we started to build cars for that. And Dominique Blais was like, hey, you guys put way too much money and way too much time on those cars to just be tolling them. You should come to Saint-Guillaume, which used to be a track that closed in Quebec. And it raced on Sundays. And it was not as big as Granby. It was more like small track, more like what you guys would see in Maniwaki, I'd say, like kind of racing. And so built a car for that, brought it there in 2018. And so later in my car life and later in my racing life did I join Dirt Oval.
Okay. So how many seasons have you went through at Granby?
So it's going to be the 6th season starting. So I did 5 season at Granby starting in 2020 during the COVID, actually.
Okay. And where did your 38 come from?
So my first number actually was 08, which is the year my daughter was born. And when I went to Granby, somebody was already racing with number 8. So I switched to 38 because that's the first number I used when I started to play hockey as a kid.
Okay. Awesome. And have you always raced at Granby, like the oval track? So 5 full seasons at Granby? Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. And can you tell me about Granby? I've never been. I've seen pictures, I've seen videos, but it sounds like a pretty cool spot, and it's pretty big, is my understanding.
Well, Granby, in what we have up here in Canada, it's one of a kind. Just starting with the infrastructure. inside pit, walled inside out all around, fast pit lane, so you can actually go in the fast pit lane in the middle, not in the actual pit. So it's built like the big racetrack that you'll find further south in the states, south in Pennsylvania. There is nothing in upstate New York, Vermont, Ontario that compares to it, just with the infrastructure, just to start with. And the track is the biggest that we have up here in Canada. It's an half mile. Uh, Not a real paperclip, but bigger. So I heard you a lot of you guys talking about Mohawk. It's bigger than Mohawk.
Oh, wow.
It's faster than Mohawk. And it's a tricky track also. So you got long stretch and tricky corners. So racing surface is a challenge. Infrastructure are something that you don't find around here. And that's one of the reasons that for years we've been trying to invite you guys to come, because if there's in the area of upstate New York, Eastern Ontario, and Quebec that you need to race at least once, it's Granby, because there's nothing, no other track like it in our area.
Yeah, like I say, I've heard of it, and I know a couple of the guys went there last year just to watch. I don't think anyone actually raced, but like I say, I think that's on our list of things to at least go check out this summer. I think Jamie's going to race it, but I can't.
We're going to race.
I think he said
I'll
that
believe
before.
it. I'll believe it the day I'll see Jamie on the track, because he's good with excuses.
And then, is there a tunnel that goes from the stands to
Yes.
the pits?
Yes, there's a not big enough for cars, but for the people. So you walk literally underneath the track to go from the pit to the grandstand. And the grandstand are really high compared to what you see in Cornwall or Mohawk. So you're basically sitting like really high in the air, and you have a real good view of the whole track. They can sit about 6 to 7,000 person, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, that is a big crowd. So you can get your trucks and trailers in. So then, are you kind of stuck once the racing begins if you park on the
The
inside?
only time that you can leave would be during the intermission. So the way that we're scheduling Granby is, we're good with that. We are the first to race. So a normal night in Granby is going to be, we're the first one doing time trials, then everybody goes. We're the first one doing our heat races, then everyone goes. And we do our feature before the intermission.
Oh,
And so if someone race in the sport compacts, which is our mini stocks, you can leave with your trailer if you're really quick at the intermission after the race. Otherwise, you're stuck in till the end of the night.
okay. And how do you feel about racing first every night?
I actually love it because the track conditions are good for us. When that track gets blacked out, really slick, the corners, which are already tricky when it's tacky, with a front wheel drive car, since you ask everything to the front tires, turning, acceleration, braking, the show's not good.
Mhm.
So I really like to race first for track condition, but also for the night. The way we do it, it's all adrenaline, everything going fast. You're the first to race, you're done. You don't have to wait all night to get on the track at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m.
Mhm.
So you're done first. You get the barbecues out, you get on top of the trailers, and you watch the night race. And after that, it's party in the pit. So, like a beer league in
Mhm.
the room after the game.
Yeah, that is kind of nice because I know my two co-hosts tonight, they like to go back and forth with one likes to race first, one likes to race closer to the end. So it is interesting to hear that you actually prefer starting it out. So,
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And the way that it is track condition, as I said, but also just the rhythm of it. I wouldn't want to be the last one to race. I look at the guys in pro stock, which usually close the night, and I mean, you just wait and wait and wait, so you lose all of that adrenaline that you got from racing.
mhm.
I
Yeah.
really like it.
Yeah.
Face-paced night. You're fast-paced. You go on track. Everything's done. But the downside is if you have any fuck up with the car, anything that breaks, you got so little time to repair and do adjustment.
Yeah, that's right. And I guess too, like the nights that we raced last at Brockville, it's hard. It's not like we can go out and watch the other classes because usually, you have to get into the cars and get the guys ready, and then they go into staging. So it's not like you guys where you can actually go and enjoy all of the races at the end of the night and watch. So I kind of like
But
that.
that's the beauty of Granby, though. Inside pit trailers, you just get up on the trailers. So basically, just less than 10 minutes before you need to stage up, you go down, get in the car. The pit lane is actually so you stage inside of the track in the pit lane. So everything's inside. You never go on the outside of the track. So that's a good thing too. So even if there's other racing, you just go up the trailer and watch it. You're not afar, so you don't miss any of the action, even during the part that you race.
That is really nice. Let's talk your pre-race routine. So do you have anything specific that you do, or are you superstitious at all, or what's your day look like before you jump in your car?
So I would do work because the reality of it, Granby's Friday night only. No Saturdays, no Sundays. So I work till noon, go down to my dad's place because that's where the car is and that's where the trailer is. And usually that's when the plan goes south because my teammate is the most last minute guys there is. So we go to his garage. There's always something to fix on the car, get ready. And even if I plan to go to the track early, get set, I always end up being last minute because there's always something to do on my teammate's car.
Oh, I think he's laughing here, so I think he feels
Yeah. I feel that. I got a friend that's the same thing too.
Not pointing fingers, but it's someone beside him.
Yeah. Might be in the same room as me.
Yeah. It's Jamie's always like on the ball. Like Jamie Martine are here like hours before, and then Mike is sometimes still packing the trailer. So
Sometimes.
But the car is ready.
Car's ready. He's fine.
Wrong answer, Mike.
That's a good thing because a lot of the time my teammate, the car is not even ready. I think the worst that we ever did was I show up after work at noon at his garage and he literally has a piston in his hand.
Oh boy. Okay, Mike's not that bad.
And we went racing.
Wow, that's stressful.
But you guys aren't far from the track though, right?
No, that's it. That's probably one of the main reason I'm racing in Granby. I live like 15 minutes away from the track.
That's nice because Granby's 5 hours?
3.5, 4 hours from us, probably.
Wow.
Well, you guys
Yeah, Granby
here, but
would be halfway between Montreal and Sherbrooke. So when you hit Montreal, you still have a good 45-minute drive to do to get down to Granby. But well, Montreal's an hour away from Montreal, so that's another story.
we're about to find out this year, though.
Did you hear that, Jonathan? He said he's going.
Yeah, I remember him saying like last September that he's going. He was on his way, and somehow he sabotaged his own trailer and found a way not to come.
That's what I did.
What would you say is your most memorable race that you've had at Granby?
Oh, at Granby, there's actually one heat race. It's that I did win, even though we don't consider heat races as a win down in Granby, just part of the night. It was actually the first and only time I did won a race because the caliber is really, really high at Granby. So that would be memorable for me. But there's one race that would top it off. Like you guys in Cornwall have the Alexis Charbonneau Memorial. But we did add one race when he was still in the hospital bed, when he was fighting for his life. And actually, it was the day before we learned that Alexis passed, and we had a race for him while he was still in the hospital. That one is an emotive one, so that one would top it off as a memorable one, not for the result, not for the race, but for what it meant.
Absolutely. And then you just mentioned that Granby doesn't count heat wins or like Brockville and Cornwall do. So how does that work? Like, do you guys, I'm assuming you run on points as well. So if you win a heat down there, do you still collect the points? or how does it work?
Few little points, but you don't go to the winning lane at all. You just go back in the pit. It's just part of the night. So yes, you do earn points on actually fastest lap during time trials. Get points. Top three during the heat get points, but it's very little. The most of them points are earned during the feature.
Okay, gotcha. All right, let's talk off season. So how much work goes into your car over the winter time?
It's a never-ending story. As soon as the season ends, we start working on the cars, and they're done barely in time to get the season started. And that's also with everything going background regarding the class, because I'm in the class committee in the sport compact class committee in Granby. So there's a lot regarding the car, the team, but also the class going on. And if you'd ask my girlfriend, she would probably say that is way, way too much.
And then how do you kind of decide? So when it is the off season, you're working on your car. How do you decide? Like, okay, we're going to do a rebuild. We're going to upgrade this. We're going to completely replace this. Like, how do you kind of look at it and figure out your game plan of what you want for the next season?
Well, the first thing would be how did we end the season? How did the car was going? How did it react in corner? What kind of power? What was lacking? That would be like the first decision on how we go. Uh, Engines is a rebuild every year. So every season we do rebuild an engine from the ground up. So the 2025 season engine become the spare one for 2026, and we rebuild a brand new engine for 2026. So, and that's my dad doing that part because he's my crew chief. He's retired by now, and crew chief, big part of the team, and he's dealing with the engine, rebuilding the engine from the ground up. So we start every season with a brand new engine, and after that, suspension a lot. First thing that we do is we get on the scale, we look at what we can improve, and also weight. We play a little bit with the setup of the chassis, so always try to get a little bit lighter, weight at the right place. So it really depends on how bad the car was at the end of the year, and after that, it's really going. Engine usually we start in January and February, but starting from the get go as we strip the car down and we start playing with suspension.
Gotcha. And when is your opening night?
That this year would be, if I'm not mistaken, May 15,
Okay.
Friday night.
Okay. So very similar to Brockville, Cornwall kind of timeline. And do you guys have a test and tune out there, or you just go right into the season?
No, yeah, we got test and tune 2 weeks before that, so at the beginning of May, and we can actually try out at Granby and but also Autodrome Drummond, which we're not a regular class, but we do have a few exhibition races throughout the year at Autodrome Drummond, which are the two big places in Quebec. And actually, this year our opening night at Drummond is the very next day from the opening night in Granby. So it's going to be big weekend to get the year started down in Quebec.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you just kind of mentioned your team. So your dad is as your crew chief. Do you have anyone else that is a big part of your team?
Yes, actually, we have two cars racing. There's Jonathan Davignon, which raced the BRZ number 6, which is the only Subaru engine, only rear-wheel drive car that we have in Granby. And we're a team together. So he owns a couple business. One of them is Ensign Auto, which is a garage that does general mechanic, but also engine machining. They got a dynamometer, and so they have it's called BLZ. It's a sports car division, tuning division, engine building. So Jonathan Avignon and the team at the garage, plus my dad and my car on my side. So we're a 2-car team, and we got good installation to work on the vehicles.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
So your teammate has a dyno?
You should see the
Look
look
at
that-
me all you want, but
Yeah, he actually. We used to have the dyno. The owner of the dyno used to be another company. They merged together, partnership, and now we moved the dyno to my teammate's business place. So now we have the dyno. We have the alignment tables over there too. That's where we scale, and we have a complete engine machine shop. So we bore, we own, we face, we deck. So we build everything from the ground up in house. We don't outsource anything about car rebuilding, car preparation. Everything is done in house within our team.
Wow. I think one of these two needs to really up their game.
yeah, Mike.
That sounds, it's very handy to have, I'm sure.
Oh, most definitely, and it also it helped reduce cost, obviously, uh, and also it gives us a bigger margin on the tests that we can do on car preparation, on engine preparation, since we do it ourselves. So when we rebuild engine, we can play with clearance. It has to be all OEM parts. OEM parts from 150 or less horsepower from factory. So we need to mismatch those parts as we can, try everything that we by doing it on our own, we do save a lot of money and helps us develop
Mhm.
better engines.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are good? You don't want to chime in yet?
Mike wants to say something, but it looks.
Oh, I'm listening and learning.
Okay. All right. So when you are setting up your car and you're putting your tires on, I've heard your name kind of referenced as like you are the guy to go to figure out what tires to run on what track. And like, how do you kind of, I guess it's by learning, but like for Mohawk, for example, I know Mike reached out to you at one point and talked about what he should be running there. Like, how do you know all of this stuff?
Actually, the only thing you need to figure is how many mile per hour you need to go at the end of the straight line. When you get in the corner, in the first and third corner, how many mile per hour you need to hit before going in the corner. After that, it's only math. It's you got engine RPM, you got your gearing, you got your final drive, and you got your tire size. Those are only variables in the equation to get you to a certain mile per hour. The tricky part is to figure out mile per hour that you need to hit. After that, mathematics.
Mm-hmm. Well then.
How do you figure that out? Like, how do you know how fast you're supposed to be going at Mohawk, say?
That's the trial and error parts. Mostly, and some people are going to look at lap time, which is not a good way to do that because depending on the shape of the track, you don't hit the same mile per hour and yet still have the same lap time depending on the size. So really, I know what speed I hit at Granby. Then we ask other classes usually that race to on other tracks and see, hey, compared to Granby, is it faster? Is it slower? Compared to Drummondville, is it faster? Is it slower? So we have a few benchmark that we know if it fits in between those two tracks or whichever track that we already know the speed that we hit, we can figure out approximately what will be the top speed that we need to hit. And since we're racing those little engines, being off by, let's say, a couple of hundred RPMs is enough to make us fight for a win or fight for a top 10.
Wow.
And if I'm not mistaken, when we had Brad Whiteside on the show, he was telling you guys that gear is part of the key, that you need to be on gear if you want to perform.
Yeah, someone had asked him what's more important, like a good quality tire or having the right gear, and I think his answer was the gear.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely, because I remember messing up calculation and being like 500 RPM off from what I was aiming, and that was the difference between like being in the game and not there at all. And depending on the engine that you have, you need some play because it's not exactly the same mile per hour for certain types of car. Because I know like the Jamie hit a higher mile per hour than we do at Mohawk, so it's the calculation is going to be different, and that's the trickiest part. It's really figuring out what mile per hour you need to hit.
Gearing is a huge factor in this. Like, it helps so much when you got the right gearing.
Oh, most definitely. And that's one thing that we do. I'd rather change a gear and change a transmission than playing my suspension setup and tire size. I scale my car. I use always the same tire size. I scale the car with it. If I need to play with tires, it's going to be a minimal difference. I'd rather change a gear and a transmission to be right on the gear. Then I know you guys out in Eastern Ontario play a lot with tire size.
Monster
When
truck
it
tires,
comes,
as you
when the
say.
times come to adjust gear, I'd rather change a gear in the tranny or the whole transmission rather than play with tire size.
You don't like monster truck tires or what?
Oh man, you guys run such big and heavy tires, but it does actually make sense because your tracks are at the limit of what a second gear can do. So you guys need big tires to be able to use your second gear, and your tracks are too small to actually run in third gear, even with the smallest tires there's on the market. Compared to us in Granby, there's no way that you can run that track in second gear. So we all run in third gear with smaller size tire, and we got used to it. We got used to set cars like that. And it came up also to smaller tires, lighter tires, and also we do run less torque than you guys. Most definitely less torque. And smaller tires are good for a car that doesn't have much torque. I know that you guys like you with the 2.4 liter, Jamie, those big tires help you on traction going out of corners because with small tires, they probably have a tendency to spin more. So those tires really depend on the way you run the track, the way your car is built. It's more than just putting pieces together and getting that. We're talking about gears, but to get to that point, it's really matching everything together to fit the way that your car is built and you're going to perform with it. Because so what I do with my car, what tire I run, could be a real problem for Jamie with a high torque engine, and the opposite could be also true. Me, if I run big foot, like the big foot tires, it kills me going out corner. I don't have the power to run such big and heavy tires.
Okay. I wasn't sure if either of you were going to
No,
jump
I
in
thought
there.
Mike had something, so I was like, wait.
You told me what size tire and stuff to run at Mohawk, and it was actually exactly what I've been running at Cornwall, or sorry, at Brockville. And I was like, well, that's not going to be enough because that's what I use at Brockville. Then I never hit the chip at Mohawk either, and it was so much faster at Mohawk with the exact same setup I used at Brockville. I never got to try it again after that night, but I realized after that night I was probably running the wrong setup all year at Brockville last year.
I feel like someone tried to tell you that.
Yeah. I know.
But yes, that is a really tricky part, and the difference is not as big as people could think regarding mile per hour that we hit on different sides of track. The difference between Brockville and Granby is not bigger than 10 mile per hour. And in between that, you need a setup for Drummond, and then you need a setup for Mohawk.
Mm-hmm.
So you got 4 track with a 10 mile per hour difference, and to me, that's 4 different gear.
Yeah, that's crazy. And like you can figure out too, like I know you've told me like this gear will work in your transmission, but this one won't. Or like you seem to know what gears out of what year of car and what transmissions fit in other cars, which is pretty handy too.
That's the beauty of Honda. So many parts can be swapped between models, between generation, and not just between years of the same car. So there's gears that fit in a B series on the Civic that we can put in a Prelude transmission. And surprisingly, the K series transmission, even though the parts don't fit, are built pretty much the same way. If you look at the way that Honda built the inner parts of the transmission, it's really, really similar in the way they built it. So everything that they've built regarding K series from 2001 all the way to the mid 2010s, you can play with them and swap them, and you can. That's the beauty of it. So with all those possibilities, you can get so many gear pattern to get on the track with the right gear compared to, let's say, when you used to run that GM transmission. The only difference was the final drive.
Right.
All those G-Track F23 transmission, it's the same gears. The only way that you can play with them is just changing the final drive from years to years, and they don't all fit from what I understood from the GM guys. So it's really, and one of the beauty of Hondas is the internet. Anything that you can think of has already been done on Ondas. And there's niche forum dating from 20 years ago with an obscure question of somebody who actually did swap parts between generation. So the beauty of the internet for Ondas is incredible because there's so much information in and on the net on what you can do with Ondas.
I guess I'll have some more questions when we turn the recording off for you after this then.
All right, so we are going to talk about the class, but before we do that, I'm going to jump over to Facebook. We got a couple Facebook questions for you. So the first one comes from Adrian Black. His question is, who is your favorite Cornwall driver and why is it Adrian Black?
Well, he got that one right. It has to be Adrian Black. And it's not for his nice look, not for how he cleverly get caught cheating, but mostly because of the way he race. And I don't mean like, he's a gentleman racer. He's not a dirty racer. And I know for a fact that when it happens that he bumps someone, he feels bad about it. He doesn't go to the track to wreck anyone, but it's mostly the way that he race on the track, the line that he use. He's probably the Cornwall racer that would race the most similar to us Granby guy. If you look at last year, the line that Beauregard raced all year long, the only other guys who was in the same line was Adrian. So I like the fact that the way that Iran would be really similar to us in Granby, which is completely different approach from usually what you guys do in Cornwall and Brockville.
That's a good way to put it. And do you find that you watch a lot of videos from Cornwall and Brockville? Like you guys race Friday, so is there times where you jump on and rewatch kind of the other tracks over the weekend?
I actually do every time I get a chance to watch the streaming of the race at Cornwall. I do, especially this year with one of our guys being the champion and fighting for the championship all year long. So we really did look. We followed what Sebastien did, Beauregard, which is his champion this year. What he did over there. So we added a keen interest on what was going on in Cornwall, and I mean, just racing in general, the mini stock in general. I like to watch our class running. And okay, one thing that is better for us since Granby is on flow racing, so I'd say that the replays that we watch from our race is better quality than Mike holding a cell phone. But
Come on.
still, I really like the fact that most of the time, either at Brockville or Cornwall, or when you guys went to Fulton, or if you guys are in the stand at Mohawk and film, yeah, I really do like to watch the race going on and to know what's happening in the mini stock class and who's good, who's to watch. who should we face? Who should we actually? Who should we be ready to face when we go to those tracks? Because I really like traveling and trying new places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you say that Flow records Granby
Yeah.
every
Yes,
week?
we're every week. Friday night, Granby is actually one of the heavy hitters on flow racing.
Okay.
One thing of it being that there's not that much racing happening, surprisingly, on Friday nights compared to Saturdays. And since Granby became a NASCAR licensed track, they had that deal with Flow Racing for the last, so for like what 4 or 5 seasons now, we've been on Flow Racing every Friday night, so we can
That's awesome.
rewatch our race on Saturday morning.
Yeah. And like you say, in very good quality and not a Facebook Live video.
Exactly, and actually, Granby did invest in that part of it too. They've won a popularity contest. So basically, it was a voting contest, and they ended up getting like 50K from NASCAR. And so they redid all of the lighting at the track. So now it's all LED
Wow.
lighting, and so the quality is really good because they did invest in the infrastructure
Mm-hmm.
for it too. So they made it flow friendly also to watch compared to an old track with the old incandescent
Mm-hmm.
bulb lights that basically super dark. They really did increase the quality of the video that you can take with it.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's really, really nice. Like I say, like the Facebook Live videos aren't the best, but at least it's something for sure. Like you say, especially like if we go down to Mohawk to watch, then at least people at home can kind of jump on Facebook and watch what's going on. But I don't know.
Oh, and they definitely do, and there's a lot of them. When we watch you guys filming, at one point I need to close down the chat because I don't see the race anymore. I see only people commenting on the race.
Yeah.
So there's actually a lot of views. I know you guys do it. There's a few other team that does it,
Yeah.
but I think it's well appreciated and it's bigger than what you guys can think because it goes abroad. Like Granby guys gonna watch it. You got American people who are gonna watch it. People in Ontario watch it. So every opportunity that we have to see what's going on in the mini stock world.
When I was at Fulton, I started doing the live, and I noticed I could see who was watching it, and like there must have been 10 people with the last name Beauregard watching. So I just started following him because I'm like, so it seems to be his family is watching this the most. So I was just trying to follow him most of the race, but it's cool that you can see who's watching and people can like, I can see if people are asking who's leading or show this guy or whatever. That's kind of cool about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Fulton, that was a catastrophe for us. Granby guys, even for a Cornwall guy, I think that's the worst race ever for any of the Canadian guy going down there. But we were talking about gears, and even before the guys were getting there, even before they got to the track or start racing, we knew that would be a total shit show for us. Just from the fact that when we asked the Mud Light guys about the gear and they told us that Fulton were probably the slowest corner they ever race. So we knew for a fact that Fulton was a torque track, period. And that was Dumouchel and the Granby guys. And if there's teams that run momentum race and are good on momentum, on high momentum track, it's us and Dumouchel. So that was a perfect recipe for a disaster. Canadian teams going to Fulton because it was only like you needed power going out of the corners.
Well, I always like watching races where there's guys that I've raced against. So in my head, I can kind of compare to maybe where I would be out there because I know like, oh, I've raced against this guy and he's doing all right. But I same thing when I watched that night, I was like, what is going on? Because like all of like there's really fast guys from here, like you said, Antoine was down there, Beauregard. I'm like, I can't wait to see what these guys are gonna do here. Then I started watching. I'm like, what's happening? Like, and
not even a week before that, we went to the home track rule at Airborne Park Speedway in Plattsburgh, and Jason Porter, which raced SCDRA Northeast, was over there, and he ended up second behind Bourgal with the CJ really closed up. They were the top three racing over there, like by far. And during the heat race, Porter, I don't know, almost he might even add lapped Bourgal during a heat race less than a week after Bourgal beat him at Airborne. That's not even unexpected. It's just the fact that Fulton is a small paperclip, 3/8 of a mile racetrack, paperclip with slow corners, and the big engines from the SCDRA guys. It's the perfect track for us to beat any Canadian team. And actually, you, Mike, with the H22, or Jamie with the K24, would probably have had a better night that Vogel, Bourgal, and Antoine that went over there. It's really a track for big engines.
Well, sometimes like when I watch, I'm like, oh man, I wish I brought my car. And then I watch like a couple heats. I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't because like I'd be getting smoked out there. But it was fun to watch anyway.
You would have done good because you got lots of torque. That's a good track for a bigger engine like what you guys run.
All right. Next Facebook question is from Steve Quinnell. So he is asking, how many invitationals is Granby going to have this year? And do you think a lot of the guys from Cornwall will go?
So, for sure, set in stone, we got one September 11th. Okay. This is going to be four championships done, so it's actually the first of the fall races, and you guys are invited for that one. We're going to have our class meeting actually next week, and we're going to see if there's going to be any possibility for one or two more, but it's always tough when those questions come up. I know Pat Dumouchel, Antoine's father, asks me all the time. Every time we invite you guys, there's not a big turnaround. Like 2 years ago, only Antoine showed up. Last year, when we invited you guys, we had Emily Massey that came, Antoine, and other than that, it was two Americans, so CJ and Jason Porter that showed up. So it's really hard for us to sell it to track management to have a lot of invitational if you guys don't show up when we do it.
Mm-hmm. And why do you think that is? Like, why are people not showing up? Like, do you think it's partially because people are focused on their own points at their own tracks, or is it too far, or like what would be the reason other than trailers breaking down and not being roadworthy? But
guilty.
I think Friday night is a big part of it. Mm-hmm. Granby race Friday nights. People are working. It's far. You know, you can leave before noon on a Saturday. It's hard to do it on a Friday night.
Yeah.
That would be the first thing. The second thing is actually a technical issue. Not much of you guys have a gear to race Granby. Lots of cars are built to run shorter tracks like Cornwall and Brockville. So when we speak with people about coming over, they're really, really worried about not being able to perform because they just simply don't have the gear for it. So distance on a Friday night and gears are probably the two biggest reason. And I mean, to me, it's really sad because if there's one track that you need to try, it's Granby, just for the experience, just because it's so much difference. As we said earlier, the infrastructure is just one of its kind. And I've raced a lot of racetrack all the way from eastern Quebec to upstate New York to Eastern Ontario, and there's just no track like that one. It worths to do a race trip
Mm-hmm.
to it just for the sake of running it. And the way that you guys speak about Mohawk, oh, you guys like it, oh, it's big, oh, it's fast. For us, Granby guys, it's a smaller track and it's a slower track. And but I got to give Mohawk something. I love the race track configuration over there. It's wide, it's fast, uh, it's easy to race. It's long, steady, curved. Uh, I really love Mohawk, but Granby is in another class. It's a league of its own regarding the track that we have over here.
Do you like having the walls on either side all around?
Actually, when you hit them, no, definitely, most definitely not, because I've had my share of discussion with those walls. But actually, yes, I do like having them. One of the things that's actually surprising for a class in Granby is that the eye line is basically not used at all.
Yeah, it's
So in
non-existent.
the corners, you don't round the walls like you could do in Drummond. In Granby, it's really like low and mid and high mid. So you don't get scared of the wall at all because when you race, only if you have a major issue are you going to hit those walls.
Yeah. When we were in Volusia this week, I was noticing that there's walls all around the inside, the outside, and I was just thinking of like, I know how many people have hit like tractor tires or go off the back stretch or whatever, and I was thinking like, man, that must be a little bit different ball game when you're surrounded by walls on either side.
Actually, that's one of the first thing uh, I felt when I was getting a Granby because, as I said, where I started was actually Saint Guillaume Speedway, which is the more normal track. So, if I can say tire, as you said, tractor tires inside, you can get off the track because it's not walled all around, and it felt natural at Granby to race within those walls really, really, really quick. Because even though you're getting faster in those corners, even though those corners are tricky, the track is built to be a racetrack. It's natural getting those corners. The lines that you get over there, you're not scared of going out, of going in. Like you're not fighting against the track. The design of it, and we have to give that to the team over there and the preparator, uh, GFTC, which is part owner. He gets a racy racetrack almost every time. So you're not fighting against it. So you're not afraid or you're not stressed of going pedal to the metal in those corners with the walls because it's just so well built.
Right.
All right. So let's talk all about this class. So we call it mini stock. You call it sport compact. So when we talk like Brockville, there's been a couple people on here that have said like, the Brockville mini stock community is this tight knit group that gets along so well. Yada yada yada. Do you feel like you have the same in Granby with the sport compact guys?
We actually do. We had some years that people didn't get that much along. Those were not fun seasons. But for the last few years, it's really a tight group. And one of the thing about Granby is that we're probably the only track that's race within itself with the same group years in and years out. Because you guys at Brockville have shared common rules with Cornwall, so you guys could race over there. I have some people of Cornwall racing with you guys. At Granby, you race against Granby people all year long. Period. There's basically no outsider coming in and race with us due to the same due to the simple fact that our rules are more restrictive than you guys. And so yeah, it's really a tight knit communities, even more so because we race among each others and only among each others.
So I know Jamie knows this, and I'm sure a lot of people listening know. I don't know. Could you explain like just a quick overview of what the rules are there, like that make it so different from here or Mohawk or
Yeah,
whatever?
actually, yes. Sorry, Mike, but the biggest thing is that we did draw a line. So the 150 horsepower rules, and we've heard a lot of times the the guys in Cornwall saying these guys don't have 150 horsepower. And that's true because that's not the rules. It's not like a dyno applied 150 horsepower. The only thing that we said was you cannot use anything that had more than 150 horsepower when it came out from factory. It came out from factory with power steerings. It came out from factory with AC. It's all the kind of stuff that we rip off. So yes, the engine makes more power, but the reason behind that is to keep keep the price low. Affordability is actually the main point because sport compact, mini stock got real expensive in the last few years. Uh, so we want to keep it as much as affordable as we can. And I was looking at today, and actually, just to give you an example about it, so we race almost all of us non-VTEC B20s, and you can buy that engine from. You go to the GDMs in Montreal, and you can buy a Japanese B20 for around 800 to 1 grand USD. Saying and compared to let's say you guys, a Type R K20 would be 4,100 USD just for the engine as of now. So our rules is to keep price down. For that's the first thing. The second thing is uh, we know that mini stock racing or sport compact is not as fun to watch for the spectators as let's say a modified big block, just from the fact that the car is slower, uh, smaller. So we needed to have a class that could give a show. By limiting the scope of what you can do, no one can just buy their way to a championship because we are probably the closest to a spec series as regarding as mini stocks since we all race almost the same engine. So people had to work on their cars another way. So 150 horsepower, almost everyone have the same engines. We work a lot for the cars, turn corners. As Brad Whiteside said, uh, you need to get the car to turn before you add power. And we just simply cannot add power. So we just need to get the car to turn better. That's the only way. I think CJ said the same thing, was quite surprised. And he actually looked at us turning the corners and he was like, okay, that's where they do it. So the big difference in our rules, less horsepower, but open the door to a more challenging way of racing because you need to optimize everything. You cannot compensate with horsepower. And that's probably the reason that Sebastien Beauregard was the champion in Cornwall this year. Uh, Less horsepower, but he had that inner line all year long and just doing quick laps because we had to learn how to make the car turns because otherwise you're not in the game because you cannot compensate any other way with horsepower.
And then do you guys have a committee down there or who kind of comes up with the rules?
Yes, so that's thing that has been around for a long time, and we have that in every class in Granby. The only difference is that all the other class runs mostly the dirt rule book, so there's not much arguing regarding rules. But we have a committee that's formed with 5 drivers, elected, and track management. So every time that there are disciplinary issues, we sit together, we discuss, and we vote. Obviously, track management have a veto in the end. So that committee is basically the link in between the track and the drivers. And every year we have an open meeting for all the drivers. We meet up with track management, which is going to be next week this year. And that's where we actually discuss what we want to change. If there's any rule that's going to be updated or not. And it's a vote. Literally, it's direct democracy. So there's proposition, they're voted. If they pass, they pass. If they don't, they don't. And as I said, obviously track management has a veto right. So if we go with something too crazy, they can shut us down.
Mhm.
But it's really track management got the drivers implicated in the process of our class. Even more so in the last few years. The inspectors were like, okay, you guys could do whatever you want and I wouldn't find it. So you're not going to make a fool out of me. I don't know your cars. I'm a V8 guy. So you guys need to find something. And that's where the committee got involved way more than it was before. It's actually the track owner who said because he owned another racetrack, which is it's a quarter mile short track, RPM Speedway. And he says, hey, once over there, we got all the mods that were going to be inspected in the garage. We closed the door and we did it among ourselves with the driver. And it was one of the more fun time I ever had inspecting cars. So we came up with that idea that the committee would support the inspector doing the inspections. And so basically what we needed to do is to find a way that it would be impartial, that limit conflict of interest. So we came up with a list of inspection points and we do a pillar up. So basically before the race, during the race, and after the race, nobody knows what we're going to expect till we're in the garage and the first driver picks he draw a pill, and depending on the number on it, we go to a list, and these are the things that we're going to inspect. And we had to choose stuff that we were going to inspect. They needed to come in a certain scope because you got about 15 to 20 minutes to do the inspection. It needs to be relevant regarding car performance, and you need to have something that's not left to interpretation. We needed points that have specs to back it up so that people don't argue. And so since we've involved the people in the committee in that to do that process, it we're held to a higher standard of regarding ethics. So the ethical standards is higher, and the committee needs to avoid conflict of interest and act in the best interest of the class. So it's a touchy thing. So yes, we do have a class committee that involves drivers, and but they're not like rulers of the class. It's a really democratic process overseen by track management. And so far, the way we see it, it's probably the worst that we had, except for everything else that we tried.
Yeah. And then how did you guys select who was on your committee?
It's elected actually during the meeting. People present themselves if they want to join the committee. If there's enough space, empty places on the committee, you just join and you're approved by track management. If there's more people that want to join the committee, depending on the places available, we just vote on it. People present themselves and we want him or we don't want him. And we choose that way. And we try to get people from different backgrounds. We don't want like to have a clique or people that are really close knit running the committee. And so right now we usually have people with which have different views on how the class should be run, which brings a lot of think tanks, different ideas to build the class on. And mixing all those ideas and the involvement of people is probably the best way to get it uh, that class to work and to get it to grow. Well, in my opinion, because that's one thing we figured out throughout the years is that track management already have so much to deal with those bigger class mods, sportsmen, that if you want things to happen for sport compact and mini stocks, you need to get involved
Hmm.
and make it happen. And actually, usually tracks like it because we like pre-deal everything and we bring them up with not just questions or complaint, but with solutions and possibilities. Uh, and that really did help the class to grow in Granby, the involvement of that committee.
Absolutely. So besides doing the inspections and helping out there, like how often would the committee, have an issue that is brought up to them? Like how, like, or, and like you
Oh,
say, like no matter what it is, obviously track management gets the final say, but I don't
oh,
know.
actually, it's every single week people bring up stuff, bring up points, and you do like the first screening of it, and some of those are really easy to answer because apparently rule books people just need to read them sometimes.
Mhm.
The answers are there, uh, but yeah, every week people come up with issues that they have with other teams, issues of our situation was handled by track management, by the track inspectors, and we do that kind of pre-screening and so that we can bring something solid to track management, or sometimes we have the answer to those questions at our level. uh, but the involvement, like the big meetings with track management, happens once, twice during the season, usually when they have points that they're like, okay, we need to discuss something really specifics. Otherwise, most of the, how can that, I'm going to find a good words for it. Most of the lower level questions are dealt within ourselves in the pit, within the class, and anything that is related more to uh, the organization of the class in itself, the higher up question, track management deal about those on their side, and we meet up once or twice during the season, and then the big meeting to discuss about it. Otherwise, usually, we chat with them. We call them every few weeks to clarify a question. Race director, technical director, a promoter, the track owner, depending on who's the most relevant people to ask the question to.
Mhm.
But no, it takes a lot of time, and it definitely a lot of involvement for people in that committee.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's working for you guys. So,
Yeah, because like obviously me and you, Jonathan, we talked a lot about stuff like that for rules and all that stuff. Now we tried to get this same thing going for Brockville, but I think people misunderstood the whole point of it. Like the way you're explaining it now, they don't think they see it that way. They think we make the rules, or we can tech what we want, or we tech who's legal or not. It's not like that at all. People just have a big misunderstanding about it when we brought it up.
mhm.
Well, I think it's kind of normal. People don't necessarily like change,
Hmm.
and that is a big change in the way that the class is run. And when we did it the first time that we were involved in the inspection, like we were expecting it to be like a total nightmare,
Hmm.
but it actually went pretty straightforward. And if you ask our track inspector, he says that it's the best time that he had with our class in years, because we see the other side of the medal now and how tough it is, and because you need to be fair, but also need to not be in conflict of interest. And us being there, it's not about, like, as you said, like deciding what the rules are, or who's going to be DQ'd or what we're going to expect. We had to put up like a real process that do not let places for external people to interpret, have an interpretation of what we're doing. No, it's written down word for word. If we draw that pill, that's what we inspect. We inspect it that way. The inspector is actually doing the inspecting, which is there to help him out because he's dealing with small blocks, V8 carburetors. That's what he knows. Like, and we have so many different possibilities in the mini stocks and sport compacts of what we can raise that you need the knowledge. You need us to give him, transfer that knowledge to him to let him know, like, yes, that's legal. No, that's not legal. Not because I feel it's not legal. We even made like 100-page catalog with pictures of pistons, part number from Hondas, cam number, everything that we can get. And we tell the inspector it's not legal because it came from that engine, from that year. That's the part number, and it exceeds it's coming from an engine that exceeds the horsepower that we're allowed to use in Granby. So it's never like a gray zone when we help. It needs to be black and white. It needs to be transparent. And as I said earlier, it's not perfect. It's really, really not perfect. But from everything else that we tried, it's the most functional one so far because racing is so competitive. People get eat up. They want to win, and they don't want other people to try to spy. That's not even about it. That's just making it fair for everyone and helping the track out because I understand track management wanting like to not get involved in our class because man, we do complain a lot. And there's so many different aspects to our cars that is not standard to a dirt racing car that it could be a total free for all. Like Ted, which inspect at Cornwall, Ted Lesage. I had spoke with him a few times this year because he had questions regarding Granby rules. So they reached our track management and they said, like, talk to Jonathan. The committee is going to be able to help you out because of Beauregard having a really great season in Cornwall and wanted to make sure that he understood our rules. And that's the same thing for him. He's like, where do I draw the line? Because there's so many possibilities. I need to look at stuff that's relevant in a short time span and be able to take a decision right away, or because we don't want to deal with that all week long, people complaining about a result of an inspection, because it's the same thing in Granby and probably the same thing for you guys in Brockville. They need to prepare the next program. They need to get involved with the bigger class. So that was our way of helping track management as much as we could by getting ourselves involved. And yeah, as I said, it's not perfect, but if we don't do it, that class is going to have a slow death everywhere because people are going to go overboard. And when people start going overboard and cheating, it's not fun. And if it's not fun, people don't bring their car to the track because we don't race for money in that class, obviously. So uh, we need to do something to keep that class relevant, fun, and get people to want to come and race in mini stocks. So I think that you guys in Brockville actually are doing a good thing, even if it's not necessarily well interpreted, whatever the word is. If people don't like it so far, they can get involved too, and you know you're gonna get and end up with what's best for the class. Because I think that's what you guys have all in common that get involved is that you want that class to strive and have a good mini stock class
Yeah,
running in Brockville.
that's exactly it though. Like people think that, oh, you're doing this for yourself. No, it's trying to make the class better. See what we can do to make it, if you want
Oh,
to say, more fair playing field, or just so everyone's on the same page. And like you said, there's so many different brands and different motors, different cars that we
and
run in our class that it's hard for like a V8 tech guy to know what he's looking at, right?
yeah, and more so, like if I would do whatever I want to do with the class in Granby, just me deciding, it would be totally different. You need to be like the bigger person in the room
Mhm.
and look at what's the best for the class, not just for yourself. Because a lot of time, the decision that you take or that you're involved in goes against what's good for yourself.
Mhm.
Because I mean, I liked, and I've spoke with you, Jamie, a lot about that. What's happening in Eastern Ontario right now, like allowing bigger K swaps in
Yeah.
your class. Me personally, I don't think that's the way to go because it creates the possibility of injecting a lot of cash
Mhm.
and buying the upper end rather than what you guys have been doing for the last few seasons where it was challenging because let's just take Ondos. You got K series, which is the best engine, but your RSX, the Civics of the 2000s, are probably the worst Honda chassis ever done.
Mhm.
And they're hard to make them turn. So you have good engine, not a good chassis. Then you got Mike with the Prelude, which is basically the average Joe, because that's a good engine with a good chassis, but it's not the best engine and it's not the best chassis. And then you got like the B series, the Integras, the older Civics, where you got probably what is an older engine, so the worst engine because it doesn't make that much power, but the chassis is the best that you can have. So it's challenging because no one has the best chassis and the best engine together. So if you need to win, you either you make a sacrifice either on power or on setup. But now, when you allow K swap, you can take the best engine, the best chassis, you get the money out to put those two together, and you start with the upper hand,
Yeah,
with a
yeah.
land above everyone. And I'm just afraid that the tracks that do that with within the gap, rather than have like a closer field and better racing, you're gonna have like a few cars that are gonna be like so much. Well, actually, on paper, so much better than the other one, and the risk of not having the best show and having a wider gap, it's. I'm scared of it. I'm actually scared that that's not something that would be good for the class. And if it was just for me, from me, only me, as I told you before, I got everything within my team to race like open engines and go overboard, and but that's not the best for the class. And I think that's what we should all keep in mind when we look at, especially during the off season, what's going to happen next year is what's the best move for the mini stock, for the sport compact, for the years to come.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like for me, I don't care. I got a K series. It is what it is. I'm not changing my car regardless. It's just for me, I didn't think it was the best thing for the class itself. That's it. Straight up, that's the only reason I don't think it was right for the class. Because our car counts have been going up in the past 4 or 5 years. We're are averaging 15, between 15 and 25 cars a race. So like, why would we do something to possibly destroy that big car count? Because like you said, you get the best of both worlds, the best motor and the best chassis. So it's gonna, I don't know.
Yes, and I mean, I think you guys had so many different winners
Hmm.
last year, so it's a pretty even class that you have right now. And so basically it's a winning recipe, and you don't mess with a winning recipe. You can, prepare shots looking forward that, okay, when we're going to be in trouble, where are going to be less car, where are going to be dominant cars, what we could do can be X, Y, and Z. You you prepare for the eventuality, but you don't mess with something that's going good just for the sake of messing with it. And no, I know I feel a bit, a bit sorry about it because, as you know, I got involved in the process of you guys changing the rules in the Eastern Ontario, and when I was approached by you guys, Brandon and also Ted, mostly Ted, that came up, and he was like, we spoke a lot during the season, and he was like, if can you like talk with the guys, put something up together. They need to upgrade the rules. That's what they want to do. And since you're an outsider and that, you know, doesn't have any implication on you because you don't race with us, that would be give a there's no conflict of interest going on. So spoke with a lot of you guys. We put things on paper. You guys voted on it and came up with a decision, which is one what they do in Cornwall is not the decision I would have taken, but the guys wanted it. They're doing it, but I'm really afraid that it's going to favor just a few cars rather than helping the class in its whole.
We're very, very
So
curious
we'll
to see
see.
how it's going to go.
I hope that I'm mistaken. I really hope that I'm mistaken and that it's going to be good for the class and great, but I don't look up to it on a bright side right now, but I really hope it works out.
We'll see what happens. I think we're gonna have a couple of guys coming on here too that are for that rule change, so maybe they could explain like the positives of it, or like I said, I don't know enough about it, but I've been hearing like both sides of the coin. So I think be interesting to hear what everyone's different takes on it for sure.
Well, there's actually, even me not thinking is the best idea. There's good things that can came up with it. First, it's modernization. Our cars are getting old. Everybody that run cars from the 90s, these cars are at least 25 years old. And race cars age like dogs. So they're basically 100 years old. So parts are getting scarce, and allowing those swaps can save chassis. You can upgrade your car and try to lower cost by upgrading with newer engine. But the issue that I have, right, it's the way that you guys don't have an horsepower limit, so you can spend a lot of money on buying like the best engine that they ever made for that chassis. So it kind of defeat the purpose of saving money, but it definitely would help to modernize the class because there's not so much good cars made anymore that are sport compact valuable. If we look at the cars that have been done in the 6, 7, 8 last years, there's not like the Honda Civics. They were everywhere. Now the Honda Civics are huge. The small race cars, more compact, the small compact cars, it's don't get sold that much anymore. So, finding ways to save what we have, it's a good thing. As I said, I just hope it will work out because, I like the mini stock and sport compact to strive, and whatever the word is. I'll say it in French. On veut que la classe agrandisse puis qu'elle soit en santé, like to be in good shape and to keep on growing. So, yep, They got good points, and I just hope it work out because if the good points that they brought up with it, like take the hedge on it, like, and that's what they bring, and that what works. I think that would be great. I'm just a skeptic, and I really hope it works.
No, like I'm with you like that. I see both sides too. I'm very capable of like being neutral and see what the pros and cons are. But I just think, again, my personal opinion, that I don't think it's good for the class at this moment. Maybe down the road, like you were saying, sure. But I don't think right now, with how like in, if you want to say in health our classes, I don't think it's the right move. Again, just my opinion.
Because I've looked up to it. What I'm afraid is it actually, like, it's a double-edged knife in the sense that I'm afraid that it would raise the cost of being competitive, but it can bring better cars, being more competitive. Will that get us to a smaller class, but a better class? That could happen. That could be a good possibility that is going to be a more expensive class with maybe a bit less car, but better quality cars. Because it's already a bit of that. Because if you look at the cars that the guys ran 10 years ago, they were basically like glorified Andrew Rose car.
Yeah.
Now it's full-fledged race car, like built as race car, gutted cars, complete cages, suspension. The way that we set up cars and we build those suspensions is light years ahead of what it was 10 years ago. Just look at lap times. In Granby, we won 2 seconds a lap in 10 years. The guys who won the last race of the season in 2014, the fastest lap was 25-second flat. Last year, Mathieu Vogel broke the record, and he drove the fastest lap at the end of the season in 22.8. And that is a massive, massive difference. The guy that runs 25-second flat now in Granby get lapped like in a heat race because the class evolved so much. So it's already going that way. That change is, shifting it in high gear, but it could end up having like smaller but better class with more competitive track. And we see that in Quebec. There's smaller race tracks, mostly in eastern Quebec, where they are more grassroots, and it's cheaper to race compared to us in the western part of Quebec with the bigger racetrack with Drummond and Granby, which it costs more money, but the quality of our cars is way better than what they do. As I said, double-edged knife, but either way, I just hope something good gets out of it.
No, time will tell for sure. We'll see what's going to go, like how it's going to go, pro or con kind of thing. We'll see.
All right.
But
go ahead.
Yeah, no, go. I know you wanted it for us to chit chat,
No,
and that's what we're doing.
That is perfect. I'm not complaining whatsoever. I was just going to say I have no more questions. So.
Oh, I have one.
Uh-oh.
Jonathan, when are we going to see you in Brockville? Always chirping me about Granby, but when's the last time you showed up?
In Brockville? I've actually never raced Brockville.
Oh, I know.
Mostly because but actually the usually when it happened is I always wanted to do the Falls National because that's a great race, but I've never got the free time that I needed in October to go over there. And I tried to keep it down to one race per week during the season because since racing's already take a lot of my time, I try to, you know, have that family work and racing hobby to share a good part, have an equal part involved in everything. So I feel that it's reasonable for me to only do one race per weekend. And so with doing that, it limits my ability to go to Brockville at any point during the season. So Falls National is definitely a race I want to do. And one thing I've did since I started racing, every year I want to try a new track. That's basically one of the only rules that I put on myself is I want to try a new racetrack, and I'm starting to run out of racetracks nearby. So Brockville and Devil Ball in Vermont are the only two racetrack in the area that I haven't raced yet, and Can-Am, but it's further down south and further for me to go there. So Brockville probably this year.
And what?
If not, it has to be next year because that's a rule I gave myself, a new track every year, and I'm running out of tracks
Uh,
to try.
all I'm hearing is like kind of excuses, is what I'm being told. Someone keeps telling me the same thing, but yeah.
I think you guys should make a deal of if Jamie goes to Granby,
Oh, I'm
Jonathan,
going.
you have to come to
I'm
Brockville.
going this year.
I think that's a fair
Man,
trade.
I cannot do that because I want to race Brockville, and if I make that deal, it's never gonna happen. Like I don't want
Yeah,
to
well,
block
don't
myself
worry.
out of Brockville.
You'll be seeing me in Granby this year. Don't worry.
Time will tell.
I guarantee it.
Believe it, the deal, see it.
Same
But
thing.
no, definitely, you need to come and try
No, I
that
know, because
track.
we talked
Uh,
about walk and stuff and how much that was fun, and you've helped me with tire setup and stuff. So like that, I want to go try Granby because it looks freaking awesome just even watching it.
And one thing that I really like is, especially me putting the fall nationals uh, on my calendar. The idea is also that my buddies are going. Those event, you got people from all around going. So there's at least 4 or 5 guys from Granby going over there. You got the Cornwall people. There's you from Brockville. There's the guy from Brighton that come ups also. And I love those races where there's people from all around because surprisingly, even though all these tracks have different rules, when we race each other,
It's good racing.
nobody knows who's gonna win. It's good. It's good race, and it's fair race. Like the level is pretty even between like all you guys have in Eastern Ontario and what we have in Western Quebec, and the top five in Granby is incredibly fast, and they basically win every race for the last 5 years. The top five in Cornwall's fast. The top five in Brockville fast. The top five at Brighton's fast, and that makes for good racing, and that's really what I like because I'm the mid pack warrior. If you think of average racer and average finish, I'm on the top of the list. That's where I hang out. But I love to go race those tough races rather than show up on a Friday night in Mohawk when there's 6 cars and fight for a win. I'd rather go over there when there's 30 cars and fight for a place in the feature because that's just good racing. That's what I like.
Yeah, because I was looking forward to racing with you in Mohawk, but apparently your motor had different ideals.
Man, and that's like the first engine I blew up in years. And if you would have been there the night before, you could have done like 3 hours of racing with one lap and then a yellow and then a one lap and then a yellow all night long. And you could have raced me that night, which wasn't much of racing, but Mohawk's a good place. I think just geographically speaking for everyone to gather. It's a big track. It's a fun track. It's, a couple hour drive for us, a big hour drive for you guys. Cornwall just nearby. I think Mohawk's a great place to have like mini stock racing, just from where it's set geographically speaking.
Like I went to Mohawk the first year of my MX6. I think it was the same year we had the Alexi Memorial race in Cornwall. They had like a big race in September to qualify for it. And like I went, I'm like, wow, this track is just freaking amazing. So I kept trying to go back every year, and it's a fun place to run. And I keep trying to get people to go, but
Oh,
slowly but surely people are going. Like I got Mike there with Cobalt, and then Curtis went too. Well, he raced there a while too, but like trying to get other people to go has been a challenge a bit because apparently a lot of people can't cross the border.
yeah, and there's also the gear issue.
Yeah.
You needed most likely a third gear to race over there,
Mhm.
and Curtis is actually like the closest track to his place,
Yeah.
so that should be his home track. And same thing for Emily Massey.
Yeah.
She raced there. She's actually like this year's champion. But what I really like about, because I went to Airborne and I just didn't like the track. I love the track at Mohawk. I think that anybody that never raced Mohawk can be fast still at Mohawk because it's such an easy place to race. It's wide. It's not tricky corners like Granby. You really need to work on the setup and the line you're racing because it's a tricky track and it's tough to be fast in Granby. I think it's easy to be fast in Mohawk because it's such a it's designed to be easy to race. Like you get in those corner and you just ong in there and then straight line and ong in the corner. You don't fight the track at all. I really, really love that place.
No, it's a beautiful place, that track. It's so far my favorite.
I got one last question for you, for me anyway. If we were to have a mini stock all-star race,
Yep.
so like 5 guys from your place, 5 guys from Cornwall, Brockville, Mohawk, and we're gonna have it at one track, where would you like to see it?
I think that Mohawk would be the best place to do that. I think that would be for like first thing, that would be an equalizer because it's not the home track of anyone. So everybody needs to adapt, set up, gear, whatever to perform. Like nobody get the home track advantage. And that track is made for racy race. I don't think that if you get an all-star race, you'd get like a one line kind of race
No.
down in Mohawk. You have at any point in time slick or tacky at least 2 good racing line in Mohawk. So that would be good for a show. And yep, definitely. If I was closer to Mohawk, I'd probably say that this is my favorite racing track. But if I would take like Mohawk surface and put it in Granby, that would be like the best thing ever.
Yeah, their track.
The infrastructure of Granby with the surface, the racing surface from Mohawk, that would be like the perfect match.
Yeah, I think that's a cool idea.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But
Sorry.
Yep.
No. If you got more, I've got nothing. So
I could go all night long. There's gonna be a lot of editing to do.
That's okay. But no, that is all I have. Jamie, you got anything else?
No, I don't think so.
You good?
I had to chirp with the Brockville question, so
It's probably good for Jonathan Lacoste Volume 1, but we'll probably have to have you on for another episode.
Yeah, we'll have to have you on mid-season and see how your season's going.
and after you see me in Granby.
Well, it's probably going to be average. No, I mean, really glad that you guys have me on because I think there's more of a to be shared between what Eastern Ontario and Granby does regarding Sport Compact and you guys do with Mini Stock that we're doing right now. There's that kind of rivalry between Eastern Ontario and Quebec since we don't race against each other that often, and I think that's something that could be used a
Mhm.
bit more, and get that challenge of Quebec Ontario going at one point maybe.
Yeah.
But you guys need to come more often. I think we, as of now, the Quebec guys go more often to race in Ontario than you guys come up in Quebec. We got few races in Drummondville at Autodrome Drummond that you guys are going to be invited because there are exhibition races. So the 4 races over there, we're going to talk about it next week. But I probably don't see any reason why you guys wouldn't be invited to those. We got our fall race in Granby, and we work a lot on getting sponsors. And actually, I want to shoot out to Brendan because even though he couldn't make it to that race. The only year he managed to get there, he got rained out when he was like 10 minutes out of Granby, and but he sponsored our fall race last year. BMR Motorsport did sponsor the heat races. So big shout out to Brendan for his involvement in the class, and even like outside of Cornwall, he get involved to grow the class, and just hope that you guys show up this year and more on the Ontario guys shows up in Granby for that race because we look forward for the challenge. We look forward to race the best that you got, and we want you guys to race it on our track because we know the track that we have and we want to share that with you guys because, as I said all night long, you guys need to try it out. She's one of a kind.
Don't worry, we're going. One way or another, we're going.
No, I know you're going, but bring people.
I'm going to try, but I can't force them. Mike has a second car you could run there too now, so I don't want to hear no more excuses,
Yeah, exactly.
Mike.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get her to start, and if we do, I'd like to bring.
Yeah,
Like I
we'll
said,
work
that
on
car
that
is just
after.
like that car is only for that purpose of traveling with it. So I won't run it at Brockville or anything, but I also don't want to run the Prelude anywhere else. So that car is just for the fun nights.
You know what's the nicest part about that race in Granby? It's after Brockville's championship.
Yeah,
Mm.
Mike.
Just say.
What's your next excuse?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Hey, he's got nothing. He's got nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see what happens with the transmission, but we'll definitely or I'll just go with Jamie and make sure he actually shows up. But we'll get down there.
No,
one
you're
day. I
coming
wanna
with me
see this track.
regardless, but whether you want to or not, you're still coming. But
All right. Well,
Even you, for you, Sandra, Granby, as being in the stand or being on top of the trailer, even for the spectators, it's something because that's a massive track with infrastructure. So even for you, if you that are not racing, it worth to come just to
Mhm.
see it
no,
with your own eyes.
yeah, that's what I said. Is I'm always up for a road trip, so I don't mind going and cheering on whoever's racing.
I definitely want to go watch too this year before we go race. So
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that's probably what you're gonna do because you're gonna find an excuse not to bring
we'll
the
see.
car.
You want to put some money on it? I'm ready.
No, I'm excited. Hopefully, we will get there for sure.
What?
I said, hopefully,
What?
we will get.
No, we will get there.
We will get.
Not the hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully he's gone.
And get
We're
that
going.
shit out of
But
here.
don't put money on it, Jamie, because I might just want to win so bad that I'm gonna cheat and sabotage your gear so you don't show up.
I'll still show up.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jonathan. This was really good. And I think you gave a lot of really good insight into certain topics and then just showed and shined on Granby. So I think this was really good to have you on here.
Yeah, it's good you're our first Granby guy on here. So and Jamie
Yeah,
didn't
well-
even have to translate, so it's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. We.
If you know anyone too.
Yeah, my
Jonathan-
English is not perfect, but it's not as bad.
No, it's
It
good.
was fine.
It was good.
So
I like that you weren't yelling at me.
yeah,
this time
thanks
when
for
you're
having
talking.
me on too.
Yes.
Well, yelling part is just because we're at the
Yeah, I know,
racetrack.
you're hyped.
The only time I speak to you guys, there's like 358s running like 100 feet from us. I don't necessarily yell, but
And
no,
they're just all
thanks
hyped up
for
by the
having me.
timeline.
And have fun with 2 hours of editing. And
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
There's not much to edit. So thank you very much for coming. Jamie, thank you.
You're very welcome, Sandra.
Mike Saunders, as always, thank you very
and
much.
No choice, but I'm here and I had fun.
All right. Next up.
Wrong answer, Mike.
Wrong answer. Next up, we've got episode 17 coming with Mr. Hayden Brown.
Ooh, that should be a good one.
That will be a good one. Another quiet guy that we are just going to chip away at.
Yeah.
It'll be good. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming back. And like I say, stay tuned because Hayden is coming up.
Je cale mon café cheminot, je m'attraque chaud dehors illico. 1, 2, puis 3, 4, 5 coups de crainte, donne.